In this episode, we are focusing on some of the mobile problems that users notice right away because the device stops feeling normal in their hand. A phone or tablet may have a cracked screen, may stop charging, may get hot, may shut down too early, or may show damage around the charging port after a drop or a bad cable connection. For a beginner, these issues can all feel like one big category called broken, but support gets much easier when you learn to separate the symptom from the cause. A mobile device can have a settings issue, an accessory problem, or real hardware damage, and those three causes do not point to the same fix. Once you understand what cracked screens, weak batteries, charging failures, overheating, and damaged ports usually look like, you can stop guessing and start making calmer decisions about what is happening and what kind of repair is actually needed. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.News in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A mobile device is small, tightly packed, and built around parts that depend on each other very closely. The battery, screen, charging path, internal connectors, and case all share a small space, so one physical problem can sometimes create more than one symptom. At the same time, not every symptom means the inside of the device is damaged. A screen that looks too dim may be set too low, a phone that will not charge may be using a bad cable, and a device that gets hot may simply be doing heavy work in a hot room while charging at the same time. This is why beginner technicians need a simple habit from the start. Before assuming the phone or tablet has internal damage, ask whether the problem is coming from the device settings, the charger or cable, or the hardware itself. That habit saves money, avoids bad part replacements, and helps you explain the problem in a much clearer way. Screen damage is one of the easiest things for a user to spot, but it is not always as simple as broken or not broken. A mobile screen usually includes more than just one outer surface. There is the glass the user touches, there is the part that shows the image, and there is the touch layer that senses finger input, and damage can affect one of those layers or several at once. A phone may have cracked glass while still showing a normal image and still responding to touch, which means the damage is real but limited. Another device may have only a small crack at first, and then later develop black areas, colored lines, or dead touch zones because the damage has spread deeper than the surface. Beginners should understand that a cracked screen is not only a cosmetic problem. Even when the phone still works, cracks weaken the device, can get worse over time, and can lead to later problems with touch response, visibility, and device safety. The exact screen symptom helps tell you how serious the damage is. If the glass is cracked, but the image is clean and touch works normally, the damage may be limited to the outer layer. If the image shows colored lines, dark blotches, flickering, or large black areas, the display layer is likely damaged, and the problem is deeper than simple surface glass damage. If the screen looks normal but some parts do not respond to touch, or the device taps things by itself, then the touch layer may be affected even if the display image still looks fine. A beginner should also remember that not every touch complaint means broken hardware. A badly fitted screen protector, moisture on the screen, heavy dirt, or a frozen app can make touch feel unreliable too. That is why a technician should connect the symptom to the layer most likely involved instead of calling every screen complaint a full screen failure right away. Battery problems create a different kind of support call because the user may not see the battery directly, but they definitely feel the results. A device with a weak battery may lose power much faster than before, may shut down while the battery indicator still shows charge left, or may become very slow and unstable when the battery level gets low. In other cases, the device may need to stay plugged in much more often than it used to, or it may charge very slowly and then drain very quickly once unplugged. Those symptoms often point toward battery aging, because batteries wear down through time, heat, charging cycles, and heavy daily use. Beginners should understand that battery wear is normal over the life of the device, but certain warning signs deserve extra attention. Sudden shutdowns, swelling, unusual heat, and sharp changes in runtime all suggest that the battery is no longer behaving like a healthy power source and should not be ignored. Battery trouble can also be confused with settings or usage problems, which is why support needs some simple thinking before calling the battery bad. A device that loses power quickly during video, gaming, navigation, or constant camera use may simply be doing power-hungry work rather than suffering from battery failure. Screen brightness, location services, background app activity, and weak signal conditions can all increase battery drain in a way the user may not realize. Even so, a technician should notice whether the battery problem matches normal use or feels far worse than the activity explains. If the battery drops very quickly while the device is doing almost nothing, if the phone turns off long before the charge should be gone, or if the battery percentage jumps in odd ways, then hardware battery trouble becomes more likely. The basic support idea is to ask whether the drain fits the workload or whether the battery behavior feels broken even during light use. Charging failures are common because the charging path includes more than one part, and any one of those parts can cause trouble. The wall outlet, power adapter, cable, wireless charging pad if one is used, charging port, and battery all play a role in getting power into the device. A user may say the phone will not charge, but the real cause could be a dead cable, a weak adapter, lint packed into the port, a badly aligned wireless charger, a damaged charging port, or a battery that no longer accepts power well. Some devices also charge slowly or pause charging when they get too hot, which can make users think the charger is bad when the device is actually protecting itself. Beginners should learn one very practical lesson here. Charging is not one single function. It is a path with several parts, and good support means thinking about each part before blaming the whole device or ordering a replacement part too quickly. Charging ports deserve special attention because they wear down through normal daily life. People plug and unplug cables constantly, use the device while it is charging, place strain on the cable, and sometimes force the connector in at the wrong angle. Over time, that can loosen the port, bend internal contacts, or pack the opening with dust and lint that blocks a solid connection. A damaged port often shows a very clear pattern. The cable may only work when held a certain way. Charging may start and stop with small movement. Data transfer may fail, even when some charging still happens, or the connector may feel loose and unstable compared with a healthy device. Beginners should also know that debris can look like damage at first. A port filled with compacted lint may stop the cable from sitting fully in place, which makes the user think the device is broken when the deeper issue is simply a blocked connection path. Overheating is another problem users notice quickly because the device becomes uncomfortable to hold and may start acting strangely. A mobile device will often get warm during charging, video streaming, gaming, camera use, navigation, or software updates, and some warmth is normal. What matters is when the heat becomes excessive, repeated, or linked to other problems such as battery drain, charging pauses, lag, brightness reduction, or shutdowns. Heat can come from heavy app activity, poor signal conditions, a hot environment, charging while doing demanding work, or a battery that is no longer healthy. It can also come from hardware damage after a drop or liquid event. A beginner technician should not treat all heat as proof of internal failure, but they also should not dismiss repeated overheating. A device that becomes very hot during light use or when idle is telling a more serious story than one that simply warms up during a long video call on a hot day. Settings issues are important because they can make a perfectly healthy mobile device look broken. A screen may seem too dark because brightness settings changed, power-saving features are active, or auto brightness is responding to the environment. A battery may seem weak because the screen is set very bright, apps are running heavily in the background, or the user changed settings that keep radios, location, or syncing active more often. Charging may appear slow because the device is set to limit certain background behavior, or because the user is using the device heavily while it is plugged in and expects the battery level to rise faster than it can. Touch problems can also appear when the device is frozen, overloaded, or stuck in an app rather than physically broken. This is why beginners should always consider simple system behavior before deciding there is hardware damage, especially when the device has no visible physical injury and the symptom changes after normal restart or light use. Accessory problems are just as important because mobile devices depend heavily on outside parts that users treat roughly every day. A frayed or low-quality charging cable can create charging trouble that looks just like a broken port. A weak power adapter can charge too slowly or not at all under normal use. A thick or poorly designed case can block a cable from seating fully or interfere with wireless charging alignment. A damaged screen protector can make touch feel unreliable, especially near the edges, and users often blame the display when the real problem is the accessory sitting on top of it. Even dirty connectors on cables can create start and stop charging that seems like internal device trouble. Beginners should build a simple habit here too. When a symptom involves touch, charging, or physical connection, always think about the accessory path. Known good accessories are one of the easiest ways to separate outside trouble from real device damage. Real hardware damage has its own pattern, and once you learn it, it becomes easier to spot. A drop, bend, crush, liquid event, or strong impact often leaves clues such as cracked glass, lifted screen edges, frame damage, loose ports, dead touch zones, display bleeding, or charging failure that does not improve with a known good cable and adapter. Battery swelling is especially important because it can push the screen outward, change the shape of the case, and make the device unsafe to keep using normally. A damaged charging port may feel loose or may fail the same way with every cable. A damaged battery may overheat, charge unpredictably, or lose power far too fast no matter what settings are used. The beginner lesson is simple and very useful. When the symptom stays the same across known good accessories, safe settings, and normal restart behavior, and especially when physical signs are visible, true hardware damage moves much higher on the list. A calm support approach helps prevent wasted effort. Start by noticing what the user actually sees and feels. Is there visible damage, or is the complaint only about behavior? Does the charging problem happen with one cable or all cables? Does the battery problem appear during heavy use only, or even during light use? Does the screen issue stay in the same physical area, or does it come and go depending on software state? A beginner does not need a deep lab process to get value from these questions. The point is to separate repeatable physical symptoms from changeable behavior. Settings and accessory problems often change when conditions change, while hardware damage usually keeps showing itself in a more stubborn and consistent way. A few short examples help bring this together. A phone with a cracked outer glass, a clean image, and normal touch response still has real damage, but it is different from a phone with black patches and dead touch areas after the same kind of drop. A tablet that only charges with one specific cheap cable is more likely dealing with a bad accessory than with a broken port. A phone that refuses every known good charger, only charges when the connector is held upward, and has visible wear around the opening is showing a much stronger port damage pattern. A device that gets hot only while gaming in a thick case may not be broken at all, while a device that becomes hot on a desk during light use and has a lifting screen may be showing battery trouble that should be treated much more seriously. These examples matter because they show how the same broad complaint can lead to very different causes. By the end of this topic, battery, screen, charging, and physical damage problems on mobile devices should feel much easier to sort out. A cracked screen may involve only the surface or may go deeper into display and touch layers. A weak battery may be normal aging, heavy use, or a clear failure depending on how the symptoms behave. Charging trouble may come from the outlet, adapter, cable, port, or battery, and overheating may be caused by workload, environment, settings, or damaged hardware. The big goal for a beginner is not to memorize one answer for every symptom. The goal is to tell the difference between a settings issue, an accessory problem, and actual hardware damage. Once you build that habit, you stop guessing, you replace fewer good parts, and you give users much better answers about what is really wrong with their mobile device.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.